Greetings. Gunter Amron here with IVE Media Group, ivemedia.org. And following is the Jackson County Board of Commissioners meeting and their public comments testimony section.
Truly are fearful of COVID. And I think that one of the things that's desperately needed is education, because they aren't understanding that our hospitals are not overwhelmed. And until they do, our commissioners are certainly in a bind as far as anything they might wish to try to work with. So I guess my press for today is simply that I have no idea what the commission could do to help educate the public in various areas where there is this fear. But until that fear is dispelled, they are going to be afraid if they see people without masks or see stores opening for regular business. And that's truly all I have to say this morning.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, commissioners. Gunter
Good
Amron,
morning.
Cave Junction. All right. Yeah, good to hear, Carol. Good morning, commissioners. Good to see you, Rick Dwyer, in your office with a suit on. Great, right on.
Been a while.
Yeah, yeah. I look forward to come over and visit you guys in person. But I'm so tied up here now with Neighborhood Watch and also fire and emergency preparedness with our community. In fact, we have a big map here that covers our whole area. We have neighborhood watches. I coordinate for 6 neighborhood watches here in the immediate area of Logan Creek and the Illinois River, and then there's 4 other sections there. I think a total of about 1,000 properties, in all. So we're working to coordinate for fire season, but. Anyway, we also have a nextdoor.com network. It helps a bit, but it's not as good as the other immediate alert notification systems and the phone tree systems that we use here locally. So, but anyway, getting back to the COVID-19 and opening Oregon, this is what it's all about. Bringing this into more of a reality type of perspective as far as the actual disease goes, the symptoms, the asymptomatic cases, which is huge, and many of the experts, physicians, and health practitioners and psychiatrists that I have heard from and have known personally that do not work within a health group or are guided by their boards have much greater freedom to do their independent research and to act accordingly on that research in behalf of their patients, And we here in the Illinois Valley really seen the problem with governance and the overstated corporate influence on the governance here. And so this has been a total big issue coming all the way down from the federal government to the local governments here. So we started an educational group. This is going back to Carol, educating people about the fear that's going on, but also the confusion between money, corporations, and government, public service, and private sector. Okay, and there's a whole mishmash now of this stuff going on, and the incentivization that is leading, and the relationship between the state and the subordinate counties and municipalities were in regards to an extremely prolonged series of emergency orders in behalf, of the governor and on her health board. She's been driven a lot by her health board. Okay, and so it's turned into a virtual totalitarian directive, from her health board to her and not checked by the legislature. We don't have the checks and balances of a Republican form of governance here. So trillions of dollars of credit has been issued around this national emergency, okay, controlling the narrative, okay, with huge amounts of profits going to the pharmaceutical industries and the quite obvious monopoly of the vaccine corporations, the medical and research academia, the medical colleges and the financial institutions that control the medical academia. So this all again plays into what we're seeing happening with the narrative, and we have these false PCR tests. I know Colleen has done her homework. I know a lot of you have heard a lot of what, you had Dr. Ely. Anyway, I don't have time. I will send you some information and get back to you next week. Sorry. I didn't observe my time. Thank you so much for all the really good work you are doing.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Hi, I'm on my phone, so I'm just kind of making sure that this is I'm connected. Okay. Hi, I'm Meryl Roberts. I am a trauma-informed education specialist and an autism specialist with a district here in the Rogue Valley.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Just an address or a town.
Oh yeah, I live in Ashland, 710. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I just want to first thank you for listening and thank you for your service. I have to say, Colleen, you are one of the only politicians who has responded to me personally, and that is very meaningful to me. So I don't think I've written to the others of you, but I do appreciate your listening and your response. So I just want to be a voice for our youth. I work in special education, and I have for 12 years. I work with children with all types of disabilities and children who experience trauma. We're experiencing a mental health crisis because of the closures, and this fallout is going to last a long time. It's going to be the biggest effort us educators have ever had to try and rebuild our communities. I'm also super concerned about the latest press conference from Governor Brown. Let's see, just pausing to kind of gather my thoughts. I evaluate toddlers for disabilities, and part of my evaluation process is probing deeply and asking questions, families a lot of questions about developmental history, about their birth. And I have had countless families in the last 12 years come to me and say, my child was injured from such and such vaccine. Or I will have a developmental health history and I will ask a question like, tell me about the seizures. How frequent do they happen? And a family will say, oh, this just happened after a vaccine. So while I do not consider myself an anti-vaxxer, I am super pro-vaccine safety. I have read the ingredients of vaccines. I have consulted with physicians, naturopaths. Many of the children that I serve cannot take all of the vaccines. So when I hear Governor Brown say that we cannot have such and such freedoms back until a certain number of our population is vaccinated, I become very concerned. A lot of people cannot take vaccines for health reasons. And also this isn't even FDA approved. We are in the emergency authorization. And I think it's very unfair to offer experimental vaccines to our youth. They're doing this at high schools without parental consent. You can go in and get a COVID-19 vaccine that's not even authorized by the FDA without your parents' consent. This is government overreach, and it's frightening to me. I have to be a voice for our youth. Many of the children I serve are nonverbal. The family I went to see yesterday to pick up evaluation materials from, the parent told me, I don't have food for my family. And because the private preschools opened like 9 months after public preschools opened like 9 months after private preschools, the families are not getting the services they need, nor are they getting the food that they need. So this mental health crisis is like so far-reaching, I can't even begin to explain how deep it is. I'm trying so hard to stay active in my political efforts here and communicate with ODE and OHA and call Governor Brown's office. I'm also super concerned for having our children in masks all day. The asymptomatic rate of spread is super low, and having children in masks all day is detrimental. Our district nurse said we have no business having kids in masks beyond 2 hours because the moisture that is built up in a mask after 2 hours introduces new bacteria. We had a kid in to test the other day. I think my guess is she has a trauma background. I couldn't even get her to come in the room, sitting on the floor, blowing bubbles in my super kid friendly space. I looked at the two other specialists. I said, we need to have shields on. She needs to see our smile. In my role as a trauma-informed education specialist, I know that our traumatized or abused children need to be able to read facial expressions to know whether they are safe or not.
15 seconds.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Oh, there I am. Okay. Hi, I'm Joanna Fnarofsky-Pecoraro, and I live in Ashland, Oregon. And I am really grateful for the emails that you have all sent me. And I want to tell you from everything that I'm hearing from young people, especially with families and kids, about how important that proclamation is. Whatever it does in the physical, regular world is one thing, but what it does for everybody's morale is key. And that is one of the things that is really important to me. I was brought up with safety first, and then, the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So, and then stuff about my personal integrity. So I've been watching, what we've been doing and listening to people like Meryl, and I'm hearing a lot of things that are a concern to me about the students and peer pressure, and just listening to people that are running for school board, what it's really looking like in our county. And so I think that hopefully enough counties and mayors and everything, these proclamations will make some kind of a difference, because I don't understand how the governor can expect us all to be vaccinated to open up the state. And I said this the last time I was on the meeting a month ago. I'm in Florida right at the moment with taking care of elders, and it's just such a world of difference. My husband flew home, and he said it's just so depressing being back in the Rogue Valley, which is not what I want to hear. So anyway, I don't know what else to tell you, but I mostly just wanted to tell you that it does matter what you're doing. And I know things take longer than people want sometimes, but I think that this is definitely a very important step in the right direction to help our citizens of our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, it looks like no one else has their hand raised to speak at this time.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, we have one more.
No worries. That's fine.
And there will be time to speak about the proclamation during the hearing as well.
Let's get my video up. It's always a mystery how that happens. Let's see, more. Oh, maybe I can do that. How do we get let's go to start video. Okay,
Here you are.
Good morning, Greg Marchese, Phoenix, Oregon. I'm not prepared this morning. I almost forgot. I was working on something, which I will show you. But first, I'll refer to the email I sent to you maybe 2 days ago. Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System in the first 4 months of 2021, showing deaths from COVID vaccines exceeding the highest number of deaths in any one year in the last 30 years by 50 times. 1993, there were 203 deaths from vaccines reported to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. In the first 4 months of 2021, we are seeing over 3,000. So I multiplied that by 3 and came to something like 10,227 deaths predicted for 2021 from vaccines. Then you might have seen the charts. There's a graphic depiction of this that's absolutely astounding. And yet, this is hardly news. Most people don't know about it. The government, media, academia complex is not reporting on it. But, we have our sources. It's very healthy to see truly independent and alternative media expanding and growing in our world, in our nation, in our state and county. And I'm a small part of it in my writing and in my research. And include you in my emails. So I hope you saw that. That is truly alarming, but not to those of us who understand that especially the current vaccine programs with this messenger RNA technology are designed to create more deaths, sterilization, and debility in the global population. This is not a speculation. This is not a theory. This is well supported by a long history of documentation and revelation. And I'm not afraid to say it. in our times, if you don't have a conspiracy theory, you have a trust fantasy. A cult of power has seized control of many of the levers of power in the world and are pulling them quite vigorously at this time. And some people think and hope that they are exceeding their exercise of power to the point that many people are awakening and organizing. I was thrilled to attend a large public gathering at the city council grounds, Medford City Council in Medford on Thursday. There must have been 200 people there. The only people wearing masks were a handful of media people behind their tripod cameras. No one else had masks. There was no distancing. There were hugs, high fives. That's healthy. And that brings me to what I've been working on. Human ways for enhancing freedom, I called it. And it's reverse engineered from the communist coercive methods for eliciting individual compliance. People studied basically the psychological torture techniques of the communists, in this case, North Korea and China, for how to subvert the will and impose a kind of mental and emotional enslavement of communist prisoners of war. So I reverse engineered that. Let's just look at the positive. Connection and communion, a broad base of perception, promote empowerment and energy, and just a broad category known as encouragement, regular nourishment and comforts, demonstrate self-empowerment, dignity and upliftment, meaningful challenges and goals. And then there are a number of more specific details to that. I am thrilled and excited to be implementing more of these as we counteract the neo-communist revolution that has spread across our nation and world. It is imposing these tactics: isolation, monopoly of perception, induced ability and exhaustion, threats, occasional indulgences, demonstrate omnipotence, degradation, and enforcing trivial demands. My time is almost up, so that means no masks, no distancing, no vaccines, and group community participation and empowerment. Thank you, commissioners. I hope you'll join us.
Thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. Ananda Kani of Ashland, Oregon. I'm here as a true bloodborne American to remind you that we are a republic. With a republic, it only takes a few right-minded individuals to correct and set straight the errors of the many. Democracy is just a fancy name for mob rule. We are not a democracy. This is America. This infiltration and overtaking of government is intended to turn us all into slaves, and is either knowingly or unknowingly by you, turning you all into minions for their corporation called Jackson County in the state of Oregon. You can look it up on Dun and Bradstreet. You're not operating on behalf of the Americans at this point. You are operating on behalf of the corporation. And what does a corporation do? It protects its shareholders. And after we do their dirty work, they will throw you under the bus faster than the blink of an eye. My father, who served Washington State as Assistant Attorney General and fought many cases on the Supreme Court, received a pen after 30 years of working and doing their dirty work. He was filled with remorse and regret and claimed that he was nothing more than a whore for the system. And remember, governments and corporations do not care about the people. People care about the people. There are many issues on the table for us all at once, per the plan and by design. This is the striking by the takeover regime. They believed we could not possibly fight their myriad ways of attack to take away our freedoms in one fell swoop. They're hitting us from all areas, from proposal of vaccine passports to taking away our guns. It's now a crime to shop without a mask, and we're being censored if we question government-endorsed science or say anything against the mainstream narrative. The list is endless. And if you sit in cowardice and do nothing, they will succeed, and it will be on your watch. So 2 things. 1, it is imperative that you make a public statement in the local newspapers that these vaccines are an experiment on humankind. And there may be possible health risks and even death for those who choose to take part in the experiment. Full disclosure is needed and is a must according to the law. This is not only designed to protect the people, but also to protect each one of you from any lawsuits that will certainly be coming your way if you do not disclose the risk to the public. 2, it is imperative that you all sign the proclamation to declare Jackson County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county. I learned that one of you is a holdout on signing such a proclamation, and this is not okay. I'm miffed as to why you would not make a stand to protect our Second Amendment rights. Are you wanting this to turn into a communist regime like Nazi Germany, North Korea, or China? What the heck's going on here? I learned that you don't want to go against the governor's orders and you don't want to break the law. Now, this is a noble sentiment if, in fact, the governor's orders and the laws that are being proposed were, in fact, lawful. Please understand that statutes, ordinances, rules, codes, and mandates are not law, and any law that is being proposed that is against the law is exactly that. It's against the law. To make a stand against unlawfulness, especially within your own jurisdiction, is a scary thing, but it is necessary. You may be at a crossroads now because if you don't go along with the corporation's rules and codes, you could in fact be breaking the law. Remember that during the Nuremberg trials, even participants in the media were hung for their crimes against humanity. I'm pretty sure that they all claimed that they were just following the law. None of you can claim ignorance because we, the people, have shared so much information with you over the last year. There's no way you can claim that you didn't know. And because of the irresponsibility and cowardice by so many in public office, it has now come down to we the people to make a stand. We end up looking like a bunch of jerks, and yet it is those in public office who are either acting against us or not acting for us. So if you have erred, you need to correct your ways and stand with the people to hold the policymakers and fake law pushers accountable and uphold the rights of all. God is watching you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to hop on. I wasn't going to today, but I personally try to get lots of the, maybe 500 plus businesses that I've been helping along with other groups, Faith and Freedom and different groups. So for representing them, most of them apologize for not being able to get on the call, but between having no employees and being yo-yoed open and closed by our governor, they are working on a Wednesday at this time of day. So that's the comment I get from everyone. So just so you guys know, that's the pulse on that. They cannot get on this time of day as everyone is lacking employees due to obviously the unemployment and now the unemployment perks, and now people can get a part-time job and still get the unemployment. So everywhere from Dairy Queen to high-paying jobs with all the benefits cannot get workers. So they can't hop on a call at Wednesday at 9:30. So if you ever want to schedule one on a weekend, or something where we can speak on a day that works, I think we could arrange that. So I just want to let you guys know we are very happy. This is a step forward. Obviously, we are going to continue to push until we are declared a Second Amendment sanctuary state or city, and hopefully state, but that doesn't look promising. We have, through these platforms, we have thousands of people now, as maybe you guys saw last week at the rally downtown. People want to unite, they want to gather, they want to be heard. We were waiting for local leaders to handle these issues. So I think people thought they didn't have to get involved. But right now I tell people, if you don't know your commissioners and they don't know you, if your sheriff doesn't know you, that your mayor, then you're not doing enough. And that's truly how I feel. We have to stand behind you guys in a force so that you feel the power and the pulse on this county, that we want freedom. And it's not just the mask thing. It's freedom to let our kids go to school without having them have an experimental vaccine. This morning, I'm going to go ahead and let you know there are thousands of women that have been contacting the superintendents for the school districts because there was a notice put out by Medford School District that they will be busing children to the expo to get this experimental vaccine. So you're using our tax money for the busing. I feel like it's terrible school overreach, which could end in a lot of lawsuits and different things, because it is not our school's responsibility to take our children to get an experimental vaccine. And I can get you guys that information. But the superintendents, their phones are already blown up this morning because there are all those of us that are willing and ready to stay on top of the issues and help stand behind you guys and get these things to stop. That just seems terrible, to take these kids by the masses for a virus that supposedly doesn't affect children and get them all max vaccinated. And then pretty soon it'll be any of us that choose not to won't be able to participate in sports or schools or other things. So So just to let you know, that is on the forefront, and superintendents are getting many calls this morning, and more could lead from that. There was so much excitement around the rally last Thursday that will happen bi-weekly. So bi-weekly, you will see it grow into thousands and thousands of people with the platforms that you all know that have been created to now start standing, because it's time. You know, today my family's going out on the boat on a lake here locally, maybe for the last time, because we have plans in October to leave the state of Oregon, because between the Oregon universities coming out saying students will not be able to attend without this experimental vaccine, between the gun bills, and man, just every bill that's coming out, the ag bill for the meat, so all of these we're staying on front of, and all I guess I can tell you is that we are gathering people, and you will see it, and you will see the people that stand behind you, and I hope you can stand for us. And I really appreciate Colleen Roberts meeting with us, being transparent, and speaking on the record and off the record. And I hope the other two of you will help, as a wife of a Marine and a daughter of a Vietnam veteran, and my grandfather in World War II. Dave Daughter does not